Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to talk a little bit more about socialism today. I did a prior video called Why Socialism Always Leads to Mass Murder. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to focus specifically on Stalin and the mass executions that he did and the extermination of the farmers. Okay? So here's what happened after Stalin took power, right? He had all these farmers that refused to comply with his socialist policies. Okay, he just could not get them to comply. So basically, what he did is he armed city people, from the other side of the country, and he sent them to pretty much exterminate the farmers and take everything from them. And then basically the land was taken away from them and redistributed, or the state took it over, however you want to look at that. And the key point there is that he could not get them to comply. The Russian people were probably just as resilient as Americans are today. The only difference is that they were not as well armed. Okay, now Stalin, he could not send local people to kill the farmers because they kind of knew each other. So he had to send people from the cities that really had no connection to those people. Okay, and that's an important component if you're going to have death squads. Okay, you can't send local people. In today's United States, if socialists ever took over, okay, it's not likely that they would be able to send city people to exterminate the country people, because they kind of speak the same language. People in the United States do tend to travel around a little bit, and they kind of know each other. I mean, even if they don't know each other, they can relate to each other. I mean, you may have conservatives versus liberals. They may not like each other's ideas, but they're not at the point, I think, where they're ready to kill each other. However, for socialism to succeed, basically everybody has to submit to it. Socialism is not like capitalism. In capitalism, you don't force people to work. Okay, basically, if you work, if you do the right thing, you have food to eat. If you refuse to work, you basically starve. So basically, starvation is going to drive you to work. Okay, so nobody needs to force you to work. You simply do what you need to do to survive. In socialism, however, because the government gives you everything, okay, there's no incentive to work. So how do you get people to contribute to the system? You really can't force people to contribute to the system, and I covered that in the previous video. So you got all these people that refuse to contribute, that refuse to comply. In socialism, you really have no choice but to exterminate those people. Okay. Now, like I said, it would be very difficult to send city people to trying to kill the country people, because they kind of speak the same language. They can kind of interact with each other in the way that probably wasn't the case in Russia, in the 1920s and the 1930s. Okay, so what would they do? Well, basically, what they would use for death squads would be all these illegals that they're importing, because these illegals that they're importing, they don't really speak our language. They're not really able to relate to us. So if somebody doesn't speak the language, and they basically got you lined up and they're ready to kill you, and you're saying, I got kids and I got a wife and I got they don't understand any of that, so they're just gonna kill you. Okay, there's no emotional connection there. Okay, they have no way of relating to you because they speak a different language. So that's why the illegals that they're importing is a very important part of any socialist plan. Okay, that's the only way you can get people to conform to it. And if they don't conform to it, you have a means to get them out of the system. Okay, now this may sound like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat and this is crazy, but here's the thing to understand. Okay, if you went to Russia in 1910, right, and you tried to tell those people what it would have been like 20 years later, okay, they would have said you're nuts. Okay, because what happened in Russia, the way it went from Russia to Soviet Union, it didn't happen over 100 years or even 50 years. It happened over the course of 20 to 30 years. It happened really fast and very violently. and basically nobody was prepared for it. Okay, so if you went and you told those people in Russia that lived in Russia in, let's say, 1910, that this is what the next 20 years are going to be like, they would have said you're nuts. They would have told you you're wearing a tinfoil hat. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing, and I'm basing this on history. Okay, this is what the history books tell us. This is how socialism works. This is how it has worked in the past, and most likely, any future socialists that take power, they're going to end up following that same pattern, for the simple reason that I will not comply. I will not submit to socialism. Okay, so now what are they going to do? Okay, how are they going to force me to participate in the system? I mean, they have a system there, right, where they can't stop me from taking out of the system, right? Because then it wouldn't be socialism. If they're selecting who can take out, who can benefit from their system. So if they put this system in place that everybody's entitled to, but they can't they don't have a means to force people to contribute to it, what are they left with? Well, they have to remove people out of the system, and removing people out of the system means killing them. So there's my thoughts on that. If you guys got any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add to this, by all means, please do so in the comment section. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a member, subscribe and hit that bell button so that you get notifications of future videos I make. I'll talk to you guys soon.